Right now here on Shine, we're going to find out all about World Breastfeeding Week. I didn't know, I'm sure you didn't know either. It's an issue which lots and lots of people have questions about and we'd like to know more about. So let's ask Sinead Hilton. She knows all about it because she's a lactation consultant. That's big words, Sinead. What does that mean in reality?
It just means I've got further education and experience in supporting mothers to breastfeed and overcome some of the challenges so that they can breastfeed for as long as they choose. So when it comes to the time that we want to stop, then it's a mutual agreement between both baby and mum.
We do hear a lot of different stories and a lot of different advice. I mean, some of the newspapers, like the ones we've just been flicking through, every now and again, they will say to us, a breast is best. And then the following week they will say, oh no, you shouldn't do it, or you shouldn't do it for too long. There's such a lot of different advice out there, isn't there?
There is. The health benefits of breastfeeding is huge. And there's a lot of research out there from looking at how it protects against allergic properties and diseases, like eczema, asthma, that kind of thing, all the way through to urine tract infections, protecting mums against breast cancer, ovarian cancer and osteoporosis in later life.
It's very important though as well, it's said, and I'm sure there is a lot to be said for it as well, in that the bond between mother and baby is that much more. Now obviously that's something that's difficult to quantify, but it does seem, doesn't it, from what you hear, that the relationship, the bond between mother and baby is a lot stronger if the mother is breastfeeding.
It is, you know, from the point of view of pregnancy, that mum and baby are together and it's just an extension of that process. The hormones involved with breastfeeding are oxytocin and prolactin, and oxytocin is the hormone of love. It's the well-being hormone and it's the one that helps mums to sort of bond with their baby, but also to help with making the milk and also getting her into a good mood. So it's a fantastic hormone. Now
during pregnancy, particularly for those ladies who are about to give birth to their firstborn, I guess it's quite a daunting time. I mean, already as a lady, you're already seeing huge changes in your body, in your hormones, in everything. What kind of information is out there now with regards to breastfeeding?
Well, your body's starting to make the pathway to making milk from the moment of conception. For a lot of mums, the first signs of pregnancy is that the breast will be a bit sensitive. So a lot of mums will start gathering the information, looking at what's out there, how does breastfeeding work and how they can incorporate it into their family life. And so it's a great opportunity in the antenatal period to get that information, to go out there and ask the health professionals and go to the breastfeeding groups to get, you know, information straight from other mothers who are doing it.
And of course, post-birth, you're in the hospital for usually now only a couple of days, aren't you? It would have traditionally, it would have been maybe up to a week, possibly a little bit longer. But even, and that was even without complication of any sort whatsoever. Now it's, you know, literally a day or two later and mother and baby go home and then suddenly there's this huge responsibility. What happens there in terms of information?
Well, mums often are given the information on discharge. They're shown how to breastfeed. They're given the toolkit in such a way, how to position baby, how to make sure that the feeding is doing well, you know, lots of wet nappies, lots of poo, and that baby is normal to be feeding every couple of hours. And that's one of the big things mums find odd, because we are such a formula feeding culture where babies sleep for 4 hours and feed for an hour and then sleep again. Breastfeeding is very much more baby-led and mum-led, so it is a lot more frequent.
And I'm guessing that can be quite exhausting and draining. I mean, as well as, you know, the high of childbirth, and I imagine the hormones are going absolutely crazy during childbirth, and I imagine there must be a little bit of a lull once you kind of return to reality. I mean, during childbirth, all the attention's on you, everyone's around you there to support you. When you go home, it's you and this wonderful bundle of joy.
Well, hopefully we get mums off to a good start with breastfeeding. At delivery, hopefully the baby's delivered onto mum's tummy, and then the baby then is able to explore and go onto the breast and feed. And if we can start that pathway with the right support and information, then hopefully mums can actually help that and they know where to go. Round about day 2, day 3, the milk comes in, and often this happens when they're at home. So not only do they feel a bit sore, they get a bit of baby blues, and everything is sort of falling down around them. So it's a lot of adjustment for new mums, but there is a lot of support out there so that they can help.
Okay, you've bought one or two bits and pieces with you at the moment. Tell me about what these are and what they can do.
I work for a company called Medela, and we are a company that provides research-based products for mums who are breastfeeding, and we put mum and baby in the centre. So we know that in order to get breastfeeding off to a good start, we need to make sure that mums have got good breast care, but also if things aren't happening so easy, if mum's had a preterm baby, she can still breastfeed and express her milk successfully.
When you say breast care, tell me what you mean by that.
Well, making sure that the nipples don't get too sore. If they do get sore, then there are products out there to help with the healing process so babies can latch on. If she's feeling, if she's got a lot of milk leakage, then what she doesn't want to do is feel very conscious that she's got she's showing that she's leaking.
Some mothers, of course, some mothers will produce much more milk than baby ever needs. You know, is there a way of kind of, forgive me for asking it, it's a man asking a question here, but is there something you can do with that? Is there some way of storing the baby's
You can actually express your milk and store it in the refrigerator or in the freezer.
Okay.
So, when the baby comes up for weaning, then you can use that milk if mum and baby are separated.
Stupid question again. How long would you be able to keep it for? I mean, we know how long cow's milk keeps in the fridge, but I'm sure it's not the same thing.
Well, because the breast milk is so unique, because it's got antibacterial, antiviral and antifungal properties, it'll keep that milk very fresh.
Right.
So in the refrigerator at the rear of the fridge, then it can be stored for 3 to 5 days.
Right, okay.
And then in a domestic freezer up to 6 months, as long as it's not a self-defrosting freezer, and that's 3 months.
Right, okay, so actually it is quite a good long time then. So tell us a bit about the pieces that you've brought in here.
Well, these are a couple of pumps. What we try and do is support mums if they are choosing to go back to work. As I say, if they've got preterm babies, or if they've got a mum who wants to go out and occasionally have a bit of a life, go to the gym, meet up with friends. And
so for those days that you want to keep up the regularity of feeding, but you can't necessarily be there to actually deliver it. Just tell me about the electrical part of this, because obviously I think it's fairly self-evident what the cups are for. They're the breasts for the cups of the breasts.
A double pump. Right. So the benefits of a double pump is that you can do 2 at the same time, so it's more time efficient and it's very, very quick.
And what does this unit here do?
That's the motor. So Medela is pioneered in 2-phase technology, and what that means is that we've been looking at what babies do at the breast and learning from their behaviours, and they are the experts in that. So
trying to mimic that behaviour.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
So
to make it as comfortable for the mother,
yes,
I guess.
Because the way the breastfeeding works, a baby will do small rapid sucks to start the milk flow going. Yeah. And when the hormones kick in, the milk flows and the baby creates a vacuum and sucks that milk out by creating a vacuum. Does
what the diet that the mother have, does that influence the milk production in any way? I mean, is there a certain change in diet that you maybe should think about making if you have got a young baby? Does that have any effect on it?
I think, in terms of do you need to eat more? I know in the media recently, about obesity and pregnancy. We don't need to eat a lot more. A couple of cheese and crackers is enough to just give that extra boost for mums to produce milk. And we know that mums who are breastfeeding babies actually wean a lot better onto family foods because they've had different tastes all along.
Very, very quickly, Sinead, we think about, sometimes we're talking about mother here. Of course, there's always generally a father involved somewhere or other. And breastfeeding is something which can change a relationship between a couple as well. How can dad get involved?
Very, very early on, he can actually do some of the skin-to-skin care. So if mum is having an emergency section or a C-section, then if baby cannot be delivered onto mum's tummy, then dad can do that role. In terms of supporting mum, then there's also making sure that she's eating well and regularly, that she's getting plenty of rest, plenty of support. And, dad can be involved in different ways, making sure that the baby is well, taking an active role in bum care, changing times, winding. And, there's a lot of other roles there that mums do rely on dads for.
You've got lots of support on your own website. I know the
That's
NHS
right.
has an enormous amount of
Yes.
information, but in terms of your particular company, tell us what's available and how we can access your services.
We have a website which is www.medela.co.uk, and we have a lot of information there, from getting breastfeeding off to a good start, to products that can help mums if they're separated from their babies, right the way through to how to manage the milk and, you know, problem solving as well.
Well, Sinead, I think we've scratched the surface there. We certainly have. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us. More information, of course, will be on our own website. I'll make sure all the details of how to access Medela is on the website, shine-tv.co.uk. Very, very useful information there at what can be, I guess, a very daunting time for young mothers indeed. So thanks so much, Sinead, for coming in.